So let's break down what's really going on inside the mind of Elon Musk. We're going to unpack his master plan for the future, a vision that goes way beyond just cars and rockets. This all comes from a really open conversation he had recently, and it pieces everything together. Let's dive in.
You know, this quote right here, this is the key to everything. To really get Musk's motivations, you have to understand it's not just about building companies. It's this deep, philosophical quest. He sees himself as an investigator, trying to figure out the basic rules of our existence.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, how do you go from pondering the nature of reality to building some of the most advanced tech companies on the planet? That's the big question we're tackling here. And believe me, the connection is way more direct and a lot more ambitious than you might think.
Well, the whole thing ties back to this one idea, a quest for consciousness. Musk's thinking is that the only way to even begin answering the big questions about the universe is to expand our ability to think and understand, first on a planetary scale, and then beyond.
And here's the kicker. He believes we don't even know the right questions to ask yet. Forget about finding the answers, we're not even at the starting line. To get there, he thinks we need a bigger, more powerful collective consciousness, a kind of unified global mind just to start wrapping our heads around it all.
Okay, so that brings us to the actual blueprint. His companies, SpaceX, Tesla, xAI, they aren't separate projects. No, they're all interconnected pieces of a much, much bigger puzzle. Each one has a critical role to play in this grand vision. Let's look at how they all fit together.
All right, first up, SpaceX. Think of SpaceX as the logistics and infrastructure layer. It's got the rockets to get stuff off of Earth, and it runs the Starlink satellite network, which is basically this incredible laser mesh in orbit. It's the communications backbone for this whole global and eventually interplanetary system.
Next, you've got Tesla. And no, it's not just about cars. Musk calls it the world leader in real-world AI. That means AI that can actually navigate and deal with the messy, unpredictable physical world. You combine that with their mastery of solar and battery tech, and you've got both the brains and the power source. And then, of course, there's the Optimus robot. That's being built to be the physical workforce for this new age.
And the final piece of the puzzle is xAI. This is the pure intelligence layer, the brains of the entire operation. This is the AI that's being designed to manage all these incredibly complex systems. And it's being built with a very clear mission, to pursue truth, but to also value things like beauty and to have its own curiosity.
So what happens when you put all of that together? What's the endgame? Well, it's this. The convergence of SpaceX's rockets, Tesla's solar power and real-world AI, and xAI's deep intelligence, it's all aimed at a single, massive objective: creating a network of solar-powered AI satellites that can capture a huge chunk of the sun's energy. We're talking about maybe solving humanity's energy needs forever. So what if this blueprint actually works? What does that world look like? Well, Musk doesn't see it as some slow, gradual change. He describes the impact on society as a supersonic tsunami that's going to totally reshape everything we know.
Yeah, he's not mincing words here. This isn't just another industrial revolution. The speed and the sheer scale of the changes that are coming with advanced AI and robotics, he believes it's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen in human history. And the timeline for all this? Get ready for this. He predicts that in less than 20 years, having a job will basically be optional. Work will become something you do if you want to, like a hobby, for personal fulfillment, not because you need it to survive.
Now, he makes a really important distinction here. We've all heard of universal basic income, right? UBI, a safety net so you can cover your basic needs. But that's not what he's talking about. He's proposing universal high income, UHI, a future where AI and robots create such a massive surplus of everything that everyone has access to pretty much any goods or services they could possibly want. And if you take that idea to its logical conclusion, you end up somewhere even more wild. A world where the very concept of money just doesn't matter anymore. It becomes obsolete. Think about it. If money is just a system we use to manage human labor, what happens when robots do all the work? What becomes the real currency? The answer, from a physics perspective, is energy. It's the fundamental unit for getting anything done. And unlike money, you can't just print more of it. You have to actually harness it. So how do we get there? Well, it's this kind of self-feeding loop that could disconnect us from the economy as we know it. Imagine, AI and robots mine the raw materials. They use those materials to build solar panels and computer chips, and they use those parts to build more AI and robots. Once that cycle starts, it becomes self-sustaining. It doesn't need human labor, and it doesn't need money to manage that labor.
All right, so let's try to picture it. What does life actually look like in this new reality? The end result of this entire blueprint is a future where the one thing that has defined human existence for thousands of years, scarcity, is just gone.
And this is the ultimate promise. It's as simple and as mind-blowing as this. A future where, if you can imagine a physical product or a service, AI and robotics can just make it for you. A world of complete and total material abundance.
But this leaves us with a huge, maybe the biggest question of all. In a world where survival is a given, where you can have anything you want, what becomes our purpose? What gives life meaning? That's the question a future like this will force every single one of us to answer.